Welcome to the chop up speech section of our lesson. So I'm going to show you how to chop up your speech and explain why we're doing it this way. Many of you should have your rough draft speech done. If you are watching this video and your rough draft speech is not done, which means you just on the computer and how many paragraphs you want, it doesn't matter. You just have your whole speech from beginning to end written out. You should probably stop this video, go work on the speech, and then come back to this video because the video is not going to be very helpful to you. So for those of you that are done, so you are going to open this assignment, which is 3.1.1 after you watch this video, and you're going to see a document that looks like this. Okay, it says Ignite Presentation Script Chop Up Draft, and you'll see that there are 20 sections. That's because there are 20 slides. And remember, each slide moves at 15 seconds. So when you take 15-second slides at 20 slides, that puts you at 5 minutes, okay, for a 5-minute speech. So what you're going to do is this. I actually posted a bunch of student examples from the past. We're going to look at one of those. So this lovely student here, Harrison Green, actually, no, we're going to look at hers first, Rachel Price. So you can read her speech, but if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see here's her rough draft. So this was her draft that she had written, right? And you can see, like, I told you there was no exact organization. I didn't really care. As long as your speech had a beginning, middle, or end, it didn't really matter to me how many paragraphs you had. So you'll see she has her little introduction here. Actually, it goes into this paragraph here because she talks essentially about the English language. That's what her speech is about. And you'll see, like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff broken up. And some of the stuff is just sentences. It's not even paragraphs because she's explaining, you probably learned I before E except after C, right? She talks about the English language and how confusing the English language is, because it is, and it doesn't really make sense. But because we have all these rules and exception. And so she just wrote this draft however she saw fit. Well, then what happened was she started to copy and paste sections of this speech up here. So she started pasting. So you can see she has that there, this, and when you're looking at this, you can see some has more text than others, right? And so some boxes have more text than others. So what happens is, like, this doesn't have very much at all. It's just one sentence. So you have to remember each box is about 15 seconds long, okay? But depending on what you're saying, you might be pausing for a second on purpose because maybe you're asking a rhetorical question and you're looking at the audience and you're giving them a couple seconds to think about it, and then you move on to the next thing you're going to say. And so what you do is you copy and paste your speech in here. Then you start to read through the speech and time yourself. And you start to realize, oh, wow, I only made it to box 13. I don't have enough. I don't have enough in my speech. It means I need to add more to my speech. Or you get to box 20 and you're like, I still have half of this left. Then I would say to students, okay, you have too much. You need to see where you can get rid of some of that in your speech. Like, what parts can you condense and get rid of? And so when you chop it up like this, it's a lot easier to do that. So you start working by chopping it up and kind of reading through the script and seeing if it makes sense as you're talking out loud. All right. You need to do this before you can start working on your slides. This is crucial to do because it's going to tell you, what image should I find? And I'm actually this very same student. I'm going to share her Google Slides with you when you go to the Wednesday folder, when you get there eventually after you do your chop up, to see, so you can compare essentially what she said and what slide did she decide to match it up with, right? And we'll talk more about that later in the week, but this is what the chop up looks like. I gave you another example here too. Can't remember what he talks about, but he talks about something completely different. Really interesting speech. Oh yeah, that's right. He talks about chess and the game of strategy. Super, super interesting. That's right. And so you can go and read through this and you'll see too, like, look how much text is in this box versus this box. But it worked because when he read through, In some places he was saying things fast, and in some places he was purposely slowing down his speech and giving the audience time to think. And so you have to try to decide what amount of text is appropriate in which spot. You also have to decide, let's see if we go back to Rachel's, because she has her whole speech here at the bottom, and then you have to decide, does it make sense to just cut it right there? Don't cut in the middle of right here, where it says you probably, like the middle of a sentence. You got to make sure where you're cutting it and pasting it makes sense, right? So you're going to go to Schoology. You should be essentially, oh, sorry, what am I doing? You're in the Monday folder, right? So you already watched the welcome video. How to chop up your speech draft is what you're currently watching now. And you're going to go here to 3.1.1 Ignite Chop Up. If you need any help, just email me or come find me on the Google Meet link if it's during our class period. Good luck.